Yesterday my son physically stopped a bully with the judo I taught him and did it in a way that neither got hurt. When is the last time your child took something you taught them and made you proud? I've encouraged respectful, logical argument with my daughter since she could talk. She was ecstatic that she successfully argued me into a corner on a topic this past year. Not sure how I feel about that. I'm really happy for you, OP, but I'm afraid you and your wife are probably not long for this world since it sounds like your kid is going to wind up being Batman. My son is 3 years old. I've been teaching him to be a nice guy. When someone is upset, I teach him to be kind and loving towards them to make them feel better. Yesterday we were at the gym. He was in the daycare with a new little girl. Apparently the little girl started crying for her mommy after being there about an hour. I asked my son later what he did when she started crying. Know what he said? He told me that he held her hand and said it's alright, everything alright. He's only 3, but to see that he has such a big heart, it brings tears to my eyes. He's going to turn into a great man someday. He deserves for you to bust that story out in front of future girls in his life to inflate his ego. D. I remember when I was in grade 2 and I had to deal with a bully. My mum told me to try and reason with him and my dad said to hit him. So in all my 8-year-old wisdom I decided to do both. I punched him in the face and then reasoned with him about how it doesn't feel good. End result, he didn't try bullying me again. Parentals, please remember to tell your children when you're proud of them. My mother has never said it to me and my dad, on the most rare of occasions, will. It's a difficult thing to live with when you're growing up and all you want is daddy and mommy's approval. So, yeah, just let them know when they make you proud. They need to hear it. Agreed, but if I may add, don't overdo it. Overinflated self-esteem is seldom a pleasant quality. Either the kid grows up to be a total douchebag, or gets knocked down hard when they discover that they aren't as special as they were led to believe. My kids are still very young, but I taught Tang Soo Do for several years. One of my students at the time was a tall lanky 13-year-old. We'll call him Bill. One day he comes into class with a cast on one hand, and I asked what happened. After gym class in school, it appears another student was teasing him, and Bill kept trying to brush it off, but the kid wouldn't let up, and finally got in his face. My student pushed him away, and the other guy punched at him. Bill blocked and trapped the wrist, and the attacker threw his other fist, which he promptly blocked and trapped as well. Bill then pushed him up against the lockers, released one wrist and raised his own fist. He stared the other guy in the eye for a second, and it occurred to him, he didn't really want to hurt this guy, but he was just so frustrated. So he slammed his fist into the locker beside the guy's head, denting the door and breaking his pinky and ring finger. I congratulated him on his self-control, but told him breaking those 2 fingers meant he was punching wrong. We worked on wrist alignment for a couple of weeks. I've never been more proud as an instructor, though. I congratulated him on his self-control, but told him breaking those 2 fingers meant he was punching wrong. We worked on wrist alignment for a couple of weeks. Best response ever. I've had to correct exactly that error in students so many times, too. This makes me giggle because I remember my brother and I being in karate when I was younger. Kids always tease my brother, he just really got the bad end of it. One night my mother encouraged him to stand up for himself when the kids pushed or bullied him. The next day my mom got a call from the principal because my brother punched a kid in the face and gave him a black eye. They wanted to suspend my brother, and my mother calmly pulled the principal into the office and let all heck loose. The same kids had been tormenting him for months without consequence, to the point where he would try to fake sick to get out of school. They both calmly emerged from the office and explained to my brother, you know, the consequences of handling things with your fists. I thought it was pretty rad. That kid left him alone after that. Dude, that is some real parenting. I'm not a father, but the one thing that sticks out for me is about my own dad. He passed away last year and he was the typical Asian dad who never displays any emotion and or praises his kids, even when I was on the honor roll for 5 straight years. God damn it. Anyways, he taught me how to play Chinese chess and he was very good at it. One day, I gave him a really hard time and it took him longer to place his moves. Although he still beat me, he gave me that slight nod of approval. That made like my whole year. too bad he is gone now. Now I will never have a chance to beat him in Chinese chess. Don't be upset. Chances are you would never beat your dad, but he saw you improve and respected you for it. I coach my son's soccer team and we have a new kid who has no idea what he's doing. I always have taught my son to be nice and encourage others. At practice the new kid scored a goal and my son came up to him and held his hand up to give him a high five. The kid didn't know what my son was doing, so he continued to hold his hand in the air until the other kid figured it out and gave him a high five. I was so proud of him. I yelled over to him like he was in trouble, and when he looked at me I winked and gave him a thumbs up. I love my kid. On a side note, he correctly asked me a question the other day that showed an understanding of his theory of relativity. I was floored. My brother was getting bullied quite bad last year, getting tripped over, ignored, name called, punched and kicked. Well, it was all getting too much for him, so his dad said if they do it one more time he must stick up for himself. We had gone through teachers and whatnot, but nothing was happening. In my family it has always been don't start the fight but try with all your might to finish it. Well, this one day near the end of term these brats decide to ambush my brother in the playground where no teachers could see. He got pushed to the ground and kicked. My stepdad's talk kicked in and he kicked the main bully in the balls and pulled him to the ground. That kicked and pushed the other two to the ground as well. He hasn't had a problem with them since. The reason I am so proud of him is that he is an extremely skinny and slightly wimpy 9-year-old. Yet that day he beat off 3 bullies. He got in trouble at school but got taken out for dinner that night for sticking up for himself. Try beat down next time. I had an almost identical experience as a child. I am glad you are supporting your son so well. That is actually my favorite go-to hold. It's both a hold and a choke when done correctly : my cousin's toddler bit his baby brother so hard it drew blood, so my 2-year-old spanked him and yelled, "You are a bad boy. We do not bite our babies." I gave her ice cream after they left. Please tell me his name was Charlie. Not my child, but over the past several years I've done all I can to help my girlfriend rebuild her confidence. She was bullied through middle school and came from a household that had very high expectations of her. This past summer she went to Italy to study art for a semester, something she would not have had the confidence to do when she met me. And then she left me because she had the confidence too. I did not see that ending coming. I used to wrestle and the night before a match my father showed me a reversal that I've never seen before. Next day the ref stops the match and we restart. I'm down by 1 point with 3 seconds left and am put in the exact situation for this particular reversal, worth 2 points. I pulled it off and saw the biggest grin on my father's face I think I will ever see. I am a little late, but this is something I did that my dad was proud of me for. I was constantly bullied for around 7 years, still am in some cases, but although I could fight if I needed to, my father is an ex-almost Olympic boxer who taught me for around 2 years. I would always get ready to hurt someone but stopped myself. I wanted to hurt the person but there was something stopping me. Almost every day I would come home with a new bruise, and with each day both my father and I got a little bit more angry. He told me that if I stood up for myself I would get to go to MC Donald's or something. After years of my dad telling me to stand up for myself, one day while being randomly attacked by someone, he was my friend but just got scared as heck. So I just did a spin and threw a right hook, with nice form if I remember correctly, into his jaw. The bully fell to the ground crying, almost knocked out. As you may expect, I got sent to the principal's office and was told the basic "what you did was wrong." I told my dad about the story. He gave me a pat on my back. When my teacher went to speak with my dad about it, my dad replied with, "My son was bullied for years and you guys didn't help. He stood up for himself, and do you think that the kid will bully him again?" The teacher was embarrassed and it made my week, and the bullying has remarkably slowed down. TLDR. After years of being bullied, almost knocked a kid out and got MC Donald's. My dad is a CFO and spends most of his time making business contracts, and so spends a large amount of his time in negotiations arguments. As a result, he is normally very calm and well worded, and when he wants to be aggressive goes for the approach of being firm and accurate in his negotiations and basically knowledge bombing people till they don't know what to do. A few weeks ago my girlfriend's father, who is an ignorant idiot, started trying to blame my girlfriend for getting her drink spiked when she was out at a bar in a quiet area, saying that the way she was dressed was provocative and a bunch of other disgusting and retarded reasons. He also tried to stop me coming into his house or seeing his daughter because of this. No idea how that logic worked, seeing as though I was the only person comforting her. So when I arrived at the house, he started yelling at me, calling me a drug addict because he knew I have smoked weed before, yelling at me and my girlfriend. She starts yelling back and holding in tears while I patiently waited for him to finish his crap storm idiot rant. Once finished, I asked him if we were going to go inside and talk like adults about it or if he wanted to keep throwing a tantrum. He was so taken aback he told us to come in and we sat down. I then proceeded to go through everything he said, negating every argument and informing him how disgusting it was that he would even suggest some of the things he had said, that I was a drug addict and that the way she dressed she was asking to get her drink spiked. He continuously tried to interrupt me, switching to his daughter, at which every time I calmly stated that I thought we were having an adult conversation and that I would be able to finish my story without being interrupted. By the end of my 5 minutes of knowledge bombing him, he couldn't even look me in the eyes. He just said it was fine if I stayed there and I dealt with the situation in a respectful way. I told my dad the story and he just said with a ridiculous grin on his face, "You are definitely my son. TLDR. Talk to bully my girlfriend's dad into thanking me. I am my father's son. Remember, if you marry this girl you will be having these conversations monthly, if not weekly. Also, if it is the way he reacts to stuff, it will also be the way she reacts to stuff. In the end, we all become our parents. I'm not telling you this to steer you away from her, just want to make you aware. Source: I am married." I was walking into a gas station once, and a young boy, 5ish, was walking out with his parents. He stopped and held the door open for me, then ran along to join his family. Chances are someone taught him to do that, and that's just awesome. I wish I was in martial arts when I was in school. I didn't start until after I graduated high school and it's made my life all the better. I've never been in a fight, but the confidence, physical coordination, and the discipline that you get from it is beneficial in all aspects of a person's life. Just don't let it get to their heads. Very similar, I teach my daughter wrestling and boxing. My 5-year-old daughter was being pulled by a boy at a birthday party. I watched as the boy pulled her arm and she told him to stop. When he did it again, she wrapped him up in a wizard and buried her shoulder into him, driving him into the dirt. My father taught me how to hunt animals and kill them without them feeling much pain. He says, never kill anything you aren't going to eat. My son saved my life by calling 911 after I had a drop seizure. We had repeatedly practiced what to do if I was home alone with him and had a severe seizure. I was so proud he was there for me when I need his help the most. One of my then friends came after another then friend with a knife and pliers. One Haragoshi later and the attacker was on the ground. From then on no one dared to cross me or my friends ever again. My kid came in second in the geography bee. 2 of the answers he gave came directly from things I've said. I'm so proud of him even though it was a couple of years ago. When I was in grade school, someone attacked a friend of mine and I used judo to stop the fight. Although it was an achimata onto concrete so the guy broke his leg. I was really worried I was going to get into a lot of trouble at home when my dad found out. But he just asked if I started the fight. I said no. And he just okay and asked what I wanted for dinner. And you said you wanted justice with a side of vengeance. My niece, when she was younger, she told me she wants to be a hairdresser. I asked her why. She said because it is cool and she loves it. I then informed her that if she does indeed love it, then I would support her being a hairdresser. However, I then told her that she would have to love breathing in chemical fumes and having sore eyes from the chemicals used on a daily basis, and also to forget about having soft skin on her hands as they would be damaged with constant use of the chemicals. I did not even mention putting up with customers' odors on a daily basis. I said if she can live with that and still love it, then she would have my full support. A few months later she was visiting and told me she wanted to play soccer. Again I said she would have my full support, but she should do something she loves and to do it to her best ability, not just because she wants to look cool or it is trendy. She would have to use every spare minute to practice kicking and training. She would have to read up on the rules and techniques, and even if she is feeling sore or tired she would have to train continuously, because following your passion would overcome any hurdle life brings. Several months passed and now she is getting ready to travel overseas to an international soccer boot camp she has been shortlisted to attend. She has earned it. You sound like you'd be oodles of fun at parties. This is why judo is such a great martial art. You don't have to severely injure a person to make them stop. There's also something satisfying about holding a person down while they trying their absolute hardest to get free. It's a lot better than breaking someone's nose with something like karate or boxing. The police called me to pick up my 17-year-old son who distracted traffic by waving a bright purple dildo in his car. An officer saw this and took him. He was not arrested though. Apparently he is a Redditor. Somewhat relevant. In the 5th grade, I was in the playground playing basketball with my friends at the time. There was this kid whom you just describe as the classic nutball and always like picking on other kids. One of them happened to be me, which at the time, I was a fat little Asian kid that looked like Russell from the movie Up. Anyway, we were playing basketball, and the kid starts taunting me about my weight and my skin. I have eczema. I was so embarrassed that I almost started to cry. It wasn't until my classmate, now my best friend, came over and literally told him to back off or he'll pin him down like a donkey. His exact words. The bully ignored him and pushed my friend. He got up and literally told him to do it again. By the time my friend was about to get pushed, he took the bully by the arm and swung him over his back. A Syrian age. The bully was knocked out cold and went to the nurse's office. My friend and I were suspended for 5 minutes until the principal, who also knows judo, said that we were okay to go back to class. I'll never forget that day, because that was when I started to get into judo and have been learning it for almost 10+ years, on and off. I haven't been able to use the skills that I've learned on the streets. I'm the type that doesn't look like I'd fight anyone, but I know one day, I'd be more than happy to pass it along to my kids. BTW, my best friend was a Navy SEAL and passed away earlier this year. Not my child but my 9-year-old sister. When she was a bit smaller I would always keep telling her how to properly use computers and she would never listen, so I eventually gave up so she could figure it out herself like I did. The other day I was watching her browse on Firefox and I was so proud. She really got better at using the mouse and learned to be much more efficient. Sorry for mistakes. I'm on my iPad. I love the fact that I gave my 50-year-old father a laptop and came home to find him watching live streams from CNN. He uninstalled his video drivers the other day and has to figure out how to fix it. He gonna be just fine. My 4-year-old son sitting on the pot shouts out to me that he figured out how to add 99 and 99. Take out one from 199 and add it to the other to get a 100 and add 98. Not my child, but I taught my friend's 3-year-old daughter to thumbs up and say cool story bro when someone is telling a long story. Reverse perspective. I taught my mother the majority of what she knows on how to use Microsoft Word and emailing. She was able to send an email with an attachment of a Word document that she typed up herself that had pictures and a bold title. When my kids were little, they are both in their 20s now, I had always told them to look after one another, reminding them that he was the only brother he had. The oldest was in 5th grade, the younger in 4th. On the bus one day coming home from school, an 8th grader began hitting the older in the back of the head. This was not the first time he had bullied them. He was hitting him fairly hard as he came home with large knots. Anyway, the younger who was sitting with him jumped up, leaped across the back of the seat and promptly beat the 8th grader into a crying bloody mess. I had taught them both how to defend themselves from an early age. No one ever dared to bully either of my children for the remainder of their schooling. This story was relayed to me by their bus driver Ben, who happened to be a friend of mine. Lucas, the younger, was kicked off of the bus for a week for fighting school rules, although the driver clearly stated to the principal that it was a matter of self-defense. Ben, the driver, was quite proud of my son. Nowhere near as proud as I was. I enjoyed every day of driving that boy to school. The 8th grader's parents, both of whom I know, to this day will not look me in the eye or speak to me. TLDR. 4th grader beat an 8th grade bully to bloody tears. I'm not sure if this fits, but my dad was always pushing me around, and when a bully started picking on my friend, I hurt him in ways that left no marks. I learned all that from dad. Not sure if I should be happy or sad for you. Your son did better than me. I, in 2nd grade, had enough of a bully and I broke his nose with one square punch to the face. He got up and we had a major fight. I ended up knocking him out and I got expelled. Upvoting for judo. Personally, I don't think many kids take to judo because it isn't particularly flashy or loud like karate. Definitely a lot slower and more meticulous, which, considering kids' attention spans, isn't surprising. I definitely had the same problem as a kid, but I grew to like it. I think it's a great martial art and you did an excellent job teaching your kid how to grapple. Not my child, but my little brother. He's in grade 7 and I'm in grade 11. This is his first time playing football and he was having trouble getting rid of blocking linemen. I helped him learn how to defeat the block and tackle better. His last game, he made the lineman his B and led the team in tackles. I've never been so proud. Oh man, judo is the crap when you catch your opponent off guard. I knocked a kid out after school when I was 4 with an open sionage. To be fair, he was kind of a dong, so I pushed him the last day of school. He ran at me and I just flipped his burgers. He was, and still is, like a foot taller than me. The way he flipped over in the air and landed on his back, out cold, is one of the most awesome memories I have. Poor bastard was afraid of the little guy and wouldn't speak to me until we were 10, when we became friends and put it all behind us. My mom always taught me to stick up for myself or other people in these situations. I remember a while back in middle school I saw one kid getting his butt handed to him by 6 other kids. I tried to help by stiff-arming 2 and slamming the others into lockers. This occurred in the locker room. I helped the guy up, and he booked out of there. I had 6 dudes that now wanted to kick my butt. I just punched one in the face and ran. Ended up getting suspended for 3 days while the bullies got off scot-free because they all said that I was beating the kid up and the kid was too scared to tell the truth. Point is, good on you for teaching your kid to stick up for himself. I don't regret helping that other kid at all, and I doubt your son will regret sticking up for himself either. Your son did a better job than I did at his age. I almost got booted out of my first school for throwing a bully down a slide and breaking his arm. Actually happened tonight. Was playing Super Mario Bros. On the Wii when he picked up Luigi, threw him in the lava, and yelled "Get out of town. He is for you." If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.